Hello, I'm Richard and this is Tom.
Hello.
We are the two tenors in the English touring opera's spring season, singing in Mozart's Cosi fan tutte and Bach's St. John Passion. We should be touring the country right now, but due to COVID-19, our performances have been cancelled, and we're speaking to you today from Surrey and Herefordshire. Have I got that right, Tom?
Yeah, Herefordshire.
Excellent. English touring opera have very generously paid our fees, and we're so grateful for their support. We want to recognise all the brilliant people working in all sorts of ways for the company, and this video chat is also dedicated to them. So today we're going to talk about the role of Ferrando in the first act of Mozart's Cosi fan tutte, including the aria Un'aura amorosa. Any thoughts, Tom, to start with?
Many thoughts. we both sung the role before we joined DCO. And what I always think when you've done a role before is it's quite hard to go into a room and actually you tend to know the opera better than everyone else to an extent. And you've lived through that role. And Ferrando, Nikolai Gedda, the great tenor, said after you did it once, I will never sing that role again. It's too difficult. And everyone tells you it's difficult, but actually, I think we both have a lot of love for the role.
Absolutely.
And there's so many moments of beauty and heartache, and he goes on a real journey. I know that's a cliche, but an act one is quite a journey. And the first time I did it, it really stressed me out, and I didn't believe I could do act two. And act two is a different journey. What do you think?
I agree completely. I think leaving Act Two to one side just for a minute, like Act One, you begin the opera, you're quite an immature character, you're mostly having a bit of a fun time with Don Alfonso and Guglielmo. There's not a lot of emotional pressure on you at that point. And the hard thing is that your kind of big monologue, your big moment where you speak for yourself comes right at the end, or very near the end of that act when everyone else has sung their arias. We've been larking around in costumes, in moustaches, and then everyone leaves the stage and we have to sing this fairly famous aria.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because also everyone is getting ready for the finale of Act One, which is quite big and quite energetic. And sure enough, we can get ready for that, but only in a very brief moment after an aura. And it's number 17 of the first act, and it's an hour in almost, probably just an hour in, and you've had to quick change a couple of times. You've had some very energetic ensembles, number 13, number 15, which is cut in our production, both very energetic. And then what you really want is that moment just to go, okay, now I can sing. I want to sing with all that emotion and energy, but I want to be relaxed enough to be able to sing it well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people don't see us running around off stage, and they don't see us sort of changing makeup and changing moustaches and things. And then you're on the moments when you'd want to be off stage getting relaxed for the aria. We're on stage for 25 minutes beforehand.
Absolutely. And you don't really get any intro or easing into it. It's just a recit with the two characters who leave you, and then there's and then you're off. And there's 3 pages of constant singing.
And how did you find singing in English? Because you've done it in Italian. You've done the aria 100 times in Italian.
I haven't done the role as many times as Tom. How many do you think you've done, Tom?
Well, this was my 6th production.
Yeah. So this is my 2nd. So I haven't sung it in as many times in Italian. So I guess most of the role isn't as fundamentally in my head as being in Italian. But as we both say, the problem with an aria like Un'aura is that you sing it for the first time when you're 20 or you're in your early 20s, and you sing it with all your bad habits that you have, and then you have to relearn it. I think that's fair to say, isn't it? Every time your technique changes.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I think singing it in English was easier because it felt like a different aria. But all the problems you normally associate with singing in English, singing long lines, is much harder. Some of the consonants are horrible. I think we both campaigned for a different word to start the aria, didn't we? I think
Yeah.
we didn't like starting on a H, but
No.
I think we both made it work in the end. But I think it's something I had to think about anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is, as you say, I've been singing this aria for 10 years. And I've probably sung it more than any other aria in my repertoire, and a lot that I've sort of put to the side, but that has been a constant in my sort of young career. And it used to be, I always had to sort of do certain checks to like make sure I'm breathing right, I'm not really stressed. The second half of the aria, I used to not be able to sing at all because I was so stressed by the middle stuff. So these days, I guess the first page and a half is like just checking it's all okay.
Yeah.
And then that G sharp, das
yeah.
If that's okay, I'm fine.
Yeah. It's particularly
It's almost
some of those. Yeah.
It's like if that G sharp is fine, then I can do the whole night. It's not an issue.
Yeah. I think for me the biggest challenge is not any like one phrase. I think it's like cumulative wear and tear. So if I'm feeling a bit under weather or I'm not completely trusting my technique, that's when we get to the second repeat, the repeat of the A section, and then you're coming to the coda. And whereas at the first time it stops and you have a few moments to take a breath, the phrase is longer, and you go back up to the top, and you have those two F sharp, G sharp, A phrases. And if you're not, for me, if I'm slightly dodgy by then that's not comfortable. But
it reminds me of it happens a lot in Mozart tenor writing. So that he can create a last page which on the page doesn't look like it should be difficult. When you have people who sing much higher, louder, more dramatic repertoire, and you think, well, this Mozart aria can't be difficult. But all tenors will say at the end of Dies Bildnis from Magic Flute is a challenge. The end of una aria is a real challenge. And it's that cumulative sort of stress of the occasion. lacking of breath. Did you learn anything in this process about una aria or the first act that you haven't got before, or you?
For me, the first act is always been the easier one, and that I always feel relatively confident there. I think pacing of the ensembles, so there's lots of times when you're doubling the sopranos in the ensembles, and just knowing when to sort of ease back and come forward. I think that I managed that much better this time. And how about you? Or was it different doing it in English? Or?
Yeah, I think I've done productions that were much more difficult in terms of on-stage energy. And this production was quite true to the text in many ways. I've done a production which has almost contradicted everything you said all the time. So that was hard work. I think the cuts, so we had some cuts to make it a more manageable show for each theatre around the country, which is understandable. But it does change how you remember how to pace an evening. And it was quite a sort of jolly show, quite a sort of slapstick to an extent. And I had to learn how much to give the slapstick and not to take away from my sort of other aspects of performance.
No, I definitely agree with that. You've got to. It was a challenge at times to not give in completely to the acting and the larking around, and remember that it's still when it comes to it, the mechanism has to be treated with some respect. I think, otherwise it catches up with you.
And I think it's probably unfair on baritones to say this, but particularly in Mozart, a baritone can just mess around and then sing their aria, and it doesn't affect it so much. But actually, it's true in much of Don Giovanni, Cosi, magic flute, that the tenor has to be a bit more careful to set up the aria moments. And we'll come to, when we talk about Act 2, that's very true in that aria. But
yes, I think that's Act 2 is where I wasn't that happy last time I sang it, and this time I worked out some new tricks. So I think that's to come. More to come there, definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thank you, Tom. Should we leave it there for now? And
we'll leave it there for now.
You Act 2 another day.
Yeah.
Marvelous. Well, I'm sure I could say what we hope to be seeing you all at theatres before too long. And if you want to hear more about how ETO are helping their artists and would like to help them produce more work in the future, please visit englishtouringopera.co.uk. Thank you.
Great. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.